most, let's say, exciting things that happens here in Denmark, of course, is the New Year's Gala. So this is just such an exciting time, I feel like. And we got to see Queen Mary, and I did a whole video on this on the Royal Fashion News, if you guys haven't heard. And so this is Queen Mary, and she's wearing the Danish emerald parade for the first time. And so she's looking absolutely fabulous there with King Frederik, his first year officially as king, hosting this event. And so I wanted to do a little bit of research because I don't know too much about the New Year's Gala and why it exists or how old it is. But it seems to come from a time, at least starting around, or it was almost, you could say, somewhat cemented around the 1600s. And this is actually from the Danish royal family's website. And it's a way for the Royal Danish House and the Danes to wish each other sort of a happy new year and good luck and prosperity for the whole kingdom. So it was from the time of Frederik III. And so we're on Frederik X, and we switch off between Frederik and Christian so you can see how far back this goes. The royal banquet on New Year's Eve was an official event. So in the past, all could come to the castle where they stood in rows along the walls of the banquet hall and watch the royal family and the court dine. So you get to watch somebody else eat, and you don't get to eat. Very fascinating. The custom came to an end when Christian the Sixth and Queen Sophie Magdalene, who actually is the originator of the emeralds in this particular tiara. So it is very fitting that Mary is actually wearing this because those emeralds originally belonged to Sophie Magdalene. Let Copenhagen Castle be demolished and moved into Christianborg Castle, where no unauthorized people had access. So it seems like kind of, if I'm not sure if you know US history, but there was a time period where it was pretty easy for people to actually go to the White House and walk in. And so during the time of Andrew Jackson, I believe it was, there was some sort of event. He held some sort of party or something there. So many people showed up. They actually took some things, and he ended up like jumping out a window because it got so crowded and crazy. So I just thought that was an interesting little tidbit there. So the tradition of the New Year's levees extended over several days and really developed into its sort of more modern facing aspect after the First World War because they could not be carried out on the same date, which was January 1st. And that was due to the development of just society in general, the website says, by which the number of state institutions grew. So there was more and more people to greet. And so they had to sort of extend it out over several days. We actually saw the latest event sort of, they call it quote unquote day 3, actually today. So the first day is the banquet that's held at Christian the Seventh's Palace in Amalienborg. So this is for the government, the country's top civil servants, and the royal court's leadership. So they all arrived to this particular event. We even saw Queen Margrethe, who is sort of making her, you could say, first appearance in a tiara after relinquishing the throne. She had a injury in the fall. She had fallen, so she was recovering. So she seemed to have still some struggle moving around, but it was a great year. The second day is a New Year's levee for the Supreme Court and the Officer Corps of the Royal Life Guard and the Royal Hussar Guard regiments in, again, Christian the Seventh's Palace in Amalienborg. And there's also New Year's levees for the diplomatic corps. So those people who are in Denmark as ambassadors get to go to that particular event. So the third day is for officers from the Defense and Danish Emergency Management, and they are invited by representatives of large national organizations, and those having royal patronages are welcome to the palace. So there it is, sort of a long day, and it's sort of interesting as well, because again, this is from their website, so I found this really fascinating, that apparently there used to be a big tradition regarding Rhine wine, which apparently is characteristic, distinctive, and in the past was also very acidic. So during the reign of King Frederik IX, the wine became so sour and undrinkable that it was served with sugar. And for several centuries, Rhine wine was mixed with other sugar-free wines so that the new wine took on a character of the old wine. However, the old wooden barrels were so battered that at least 1,000 liters of wine were drawn off to steel tanks and bottles in 1982. Completely uniquely, the Rosenborg wine still contains a remnant of the old wine from Christian the Fourth's time. Sorry, so I had to keep reading the Roman numerals and I had to think for a second, like which one it is. But that's very interesting because now I'm thinking, did I see those barrels of wine at Rosenborg Castle because I was there. I did a whole video. I tried to do a whole blog thing covering it. And I want to bet you I saw them, but I'm not sure if I took a picture of them or a video. So I may have to discover and see if I did here in the future because that would be very interesting for sure. Because I did definitely go into the basement where they do have, of course, more of the crown jewels and everything, but also they have a whole variety and slew of items that they hold. And so if it was there, it looks like I didn't see it or I didn't pay enough attention to it. I'm kind of bummed at myself now because that would have been really cool to kind of pay attention to. Oh, no, no, wait, guys. Hold on. Sorry, I was like looking through a video, guys, to see if I still have a image of these barrels of wine. And this is from Rosenborg. I took sort of a vlog thing, and I believe those might be it right there. Those might be it. So a lot of other things, but these are still in Rosenborg Castle right now. So, anyways, very interesting little tidbits there because I love sort of learning about the history of these different events because it's like, wait, I really want to know more about what they're doing and what the purpose of these different items are because it is like so, I feel like important to understand why royals do particular things. So, we'll get back there to King Frederik and Queen Mary. And so the wine was stored in wooden barrels, of which the three oldest dating back to 1589, 1599, and 1615. So if you want some truly old wine, there might be some in Rosenborg Castle still. The barrels were actually taken as spoils of war by the Swedes, but were eventually retaken by Danish privateers' ship and taken back to Copenhagen. And so they still reside there. And so because of that, the wine has now been sort of renamed Rosenborg wine. And so they also took time to ride around in a gold coach that was today, which is covered with 24 karat gold leaf and was built by coachmaker Henry V in 1840. So it is drawn by 6 Clodruber horses, accompanied by 2 outriders. So, anyways, that was sort of the whole New Year's festivities. It's just a way to sort of welcome in the new year here. And there is an opportunity, though, to see a little bit of this video and the arrivees for the state banquet we have here. Just very quickly, we have Princess Benedict, who is a former queen's sister, and she's wearing her family's tiara, so her husband's family, I should say. And then if we go a little bit further here, she's greeting them inside. Next, we have Princess Marie and Prince Joachim. And so they're looking really good. Loved her navy here. Love the look of the tiara. Love the camera angles of this particular. I think this is actually a Danish broadcaster. Did a really good job here. Getting some images. We also had big news. Well, first we have Queen Margrethe, who made a reappearance, but tried not to steal any attention from her son and daughter-in-law, which I thought was very good because she didn't really even pause to pose for the cameras. But the big addition we had this year is Crown Prince Christian, who became Crown Prince this year. So he is 19 now. So he spent some time in Africa this fall, and he's going to be starting, I believe, military school here or at the military academy here before too long. And then, of course, the king and queen themselves. And my only stipulation with Mary's dress, I wish it was slightly longer so she had a bit of a longer train. But other than that, it was great to see her wear this for the first time out in public. We'd seen this particular tiara before. It had been worn in an official gala portrait, but this is the first time we've actually seen it in person. So I think they look absolutely great here. And it was just so exciting to see them sort of arriving in their, you could say, new roles, because this is their first year hosting it, because Queen Margrethe was still queen this time last year. It's about a week from now that King Frederik can officially celebrate his first, you could say, jubilee. His first year on the throne will be next week in 7 days because he was inaugurated on January 14th. So that is the case here for Denmark. So very exciting. And I thought the little history of the day and New Year's celebrations was really, really interesting. Was super duper interesting. So I hope you guys enjoyed that because I know I did, but that could just be me as well. Because I know sometimes I love this, but I always want to remind everyone that, royals, yes, they wear these diamonds, they wear these tiaras and everything. But sort of the big thing with royalty is that it's all about the traditions, the heritage. The stuff goes back to the 1600s and earlier. Like the 1600s is when they made it, it seems like more formal, but it goes back even further. And so, what royals are so great at is sort of having this connection to the past and bringing it to the present. And they can also be these sort of neutral figures and saying, hey, yes, let's have a New Year's celebration where we thank everyone who works for the government, diplomats, service members, people who are part of the community, like we can uplift them. And so I think that's what royals do so well. And what definitely King Frederick and Queen Mary are doing here. So I think it's absolutely fantastic and so excited to see them do this starting for the new year.